suspects and other Kenyans alike. It is on that basis that he was given that opportunity to check on his family and even report that he has safely arrived in Nairobi. Of interest, the question is whether the numbers, the persons of interest have actually been exhausted. I think that one it will be effectively answered by IPOA, who are actually investigating on the same honorable speaker. There was also the question as to whether DIG Rangat could be paraded before the House to hear his side of story. I think again, Honorable Speaker, that's a decision that again this House can consider. Whether there are different sets of laws for different sets of people or groups. Our laws are for everybody. Nobody is above the law. And the DIG was explained by the DCI. He did launch his complaint in writing to the DCI. And the DCI, in his wisdom, had a team to look into that complaint. And that is basically, as he explained, how that investigations commenced. There was also the question of who is the DCI officer who booked Albert in the cells. The names are also there with the IPO, and I believe the IPO is going to provide for that.
So, IG, you are referring quite a number of things to DCI and IPO.
Yes.
Kindly allow DCI to take the stand.
Thank you, DCI.
And DCI, I'll give you 8 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, one was, what is my message to the family? The message simply is that role to have justice for the family and confidence by the public currently being undertaken by IPOA. Senator Odinga, whether there are different laws, I would like to confirm, Honorable Speaker, that we don't have different set of laws. The laws apply equally as enacted by our Parliament, and the law says any person. So we are not selective as officers of the National Police Service in the application of the laws. Suffice to say, however, that the perception of defamation is relative and may be construed differently by different people. Why the officers gave a chance to the suspect, the IG has very well explained that. It is part of the reform process, and it is normal for us to grant the suspect telephone facility, so that, and that was actually a request made by the suspect, so that he could contact his wife and family members. And it's also a clear testimony of our adherence to the Constitution, the fundamental freedoms, and the Bill of Rights. Senator Manzo alluded to the possibility of the deceased having been injured by the DCI officers who effected the arrest. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I may not wish to dwell on this matter. In my earlier presentation, I was able to give a chronology and the graphic details of the movement of the suspect all the way from Homa Bay up to Central Police Station. And I'm sure these are issues the Independent Police Oversight Authority will investigate to its logical conclusion. Like I said, if any DCI officer is found to be involved in the killing, then, Honorable Speaker, let the law take its course. We are not covering up for anybody. In terms of the DCI officer who booked Albert Ojwang, the booking was not done by a DCI officer, Honorable Speaker. Like I had said in my previous submission, the booking was done digitally by a report office personnel. And I'm sure the particular officer, the identity of that particular officer will be established in the investigations. Why not, when it comes to investigations, particularly on matters of computer and cyber crimes, it isn't a walk in the park. You are starting your investigations from the unknown to the unknown. You are dealing with persons operating from dark webs, persons running pseudo accounts, persons whose accounts are domiciled in other jurisdictions. At the commencement of our investigations, Honorable Speaker, we did not know the true identity of Albert Ojwang. We were only dealing with an ex-handle, a person whose identity was not known to us, and it was therefore not possible for us to summon him. It took a lot of efforts, a lot of expertise for us to unveil the identity of the owner of that ex-handle. And that's why it was not possible for us to summon the late Albert Ojwang up to the point where the officers went and arrested him. Sometimes again, and this applies to a general investigative technique, Honorable Speaker, some summons might be prejudicial or even interfere with our investigative processes. Like you are investigating a cybercrime and you want to recover a computer from a suspect. You cannot just summon that suspect to come and report to the police station. What is the risk? You have the risk of that suspect deleting the information that you require to use as evidence in court. So that's why sometimes we may not opt to summon suspects, but to go for them. Somebody has material exhibits, documents that you believe are crucial to your investigations. You cannot just summon him. Summon him will give him ample time to destroy and interfere with those exhibits, Honorable Speaker. In terms of who issued the orders to have Albert Ojwang ferried from Homa Bay to Nairobi, Honorable Speaker, we don't micromanage our investigation processes. We give the officers their leeway to make decisions. We have professional officers who are well guided by the service standing orders, officers who are well guided by our guide to the criminal investigations. For example, Honorable Speaker, if a car is stolen in Lodwar and the suspect is arrested in Homa Bay, the court that has competent jurisdiction is that court which is domiciled in Lodwar. So it will be futile for an investigating officer to come and ask his commander whether he will take the suspect to Lodwar or he will be prosecuted in Homa Bay for that matter. So those are very simple operational and tactical matters that we leave the officers for the officers to make their determinations as guided by the service standing orders. Harmony House from Homa Bay, the Inspector General has explained that. And there was
this year you have 1 minute to conclude.
1 minute to conclude, Honorable Speaker. I would like to reiterate the fact that DIG Langat has no command over IPOA. His command is limited to Kenya Police Service. I am urging this August House that the general mood in the country should not be used to victimize DIG Lagat. Let us wait for the investigations to establish the circumstances under which Albert Ojwang met his death. Thank you, and I submit, Honorable Speaker.
IPOA. IPOA, you may take the stand.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to, first of all, answer a concern that has been raised on my chair. And I spoke to him during the break. We got the notice of this particular sitting yesterday when he was already out of the country. But as we speak, he's finding his way into Kenya. He's coming back because we have a similar sitting tomorrow with the Parliamentary Committee. And together with me, Speaker, today are 3 commissioners and the CEO of the authority. So we are taking this matter with the seriousness that it deserves. And one of the commissioners present today, Honorable Jacqueline Lukalo, attended the autopsy process on our behalf. So, Honorable Speaker, I had questions that were asked. One of them was the clarity from Senator Siege, Senator Murago, and Senator Mandago. Our preliminary findings show that the young man, Ojwang, was alone in the cell, and the neighboring cell where we have had 2 witnesses, one has recorded a statement, they have said they had loud screams from that particular cell. But unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, the cells are not numbered. So we are also giving a recommendation for the cells to be numbered so that a cell is allocated vis-a-vis a person in the OB. The next concern was by Senator Wambua on the safety. I hope I got the name right. On the safety of our investigators and our officers. Honorable Speaker, our investigators especially are not safe, going by the fact that they're investigating armed police officers. But in the same light, in the security service laws, which are headed by the CS Interior, we are seeking for licensing to carry firearms. We were recently in South Africa, and our counterpart, IPID, the body that a lot was borrowed to the formation of IPOA, they have licenses to carry firearms, and in the same light also the right to arrest, the powers to arrest, and also the powers to prosecute. So that is something we are pursuing through the legal reforms in the security services laws. There was also a question on Senator Hezena on tampering of the CCTV. And as I'd said, we have engaged experts on the retrieval of the same. And we have the DVR, that is like the motherboard of the CCTV with us. So that is what we will use to reconstruct the evidence if we are able to get, after the information that we'll get from the expert. As I had indicated, Chair, the investigations are ongoing, so I believe we'll have more information as we go by. There was also a question by I believe, oh yes, the forensic laboratory. And we have a small forensic laboratory at the authority that we use, especially on the small cases. But in most cases, we have been referring to the DCI laboratory. And that is why in the same security service laws, we are seeking for an independent forensic laboratory, especially on the issues of ballistics. But on the government chemist, like what we have sent currently on blood and tissue samples, that one we work with them, and we also have partners that we have signed MOU with who have the capacity of the same laboratories. I believe, Chair, I have answered the questions, but there was one on the DIG, and as I had indicated, we are taking statements from the officers who are at the station. In total, there are 17, and I believe if the investigation and the evidence that we are getting would lead to any other officer, including senior officers, to be investigated, we'll have no problem in calling them in or summoning them into IPOA to give us the evidence that is required. With that, with what we are receiving today, as Professor Kamar has asked, what is leading? I've said we interviewed. Specifically, we asked for information from the OCS because the CCTV is domiciled in his office. So after today, I believe we'll be able to have a report that we'll give to the committee as our progress report. And I believe, as Honorable Sigei said, we'll be able to work in less than the 10 days to submit the file to the ODPP. But we seek for cooperation from the Senate, Honorable Speaker. We have a small budget. We are really understaffed. We have 77 investigators across the country. So we are hoping that we will get that support to be able to fulfill our mandate. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. We have 3 minutes for further clarifications. I will go back to the move of this business, Senator Eddy, and then Senator Metha. We have 3 minutes to do this. Senator Eddy, you may proceed. Senator Eddy, if you don't have any clarification, you may yield to your colleagues.
Because of time, Mr. Speaker, I have 3 very quick clarifications in under 2 minutes. Does the minister, or rather the CS, and the IG appreciate what senators have talked about on the issue of DIG, given that this is somebody who has died in the cells, and the possibility of cannibalization of the process by one senior member of the authority ends the call for him to resign? That's question number 1. Question number 2, on the on the IG, who are your key suspects? That's a simple question. Even if they're not guilty, we have seen instances, for instance, I've cited the case for Honorable Longondo Were. I know he did not die in a police cell, but Mr. Speaker, any form of suspects are arrested and asked to make statements. We are living here not knowing who the IG considers his main suspects. And lastly, DCI, given that this was a matter of cyber crime, and you are talking about the competence of the court, and this in this matter, the case should have been handled in Nova Bay in our feeling, are you arguing that the cloud is only Nairobi? And the cloud, where is the cloud in your view? Let me ask that question from an ICT perspective. Where do you think the cloud is? Is the cloud in Nairobi? Or where is the cloud? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Metha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to disagree with the DCI, when he says that all animals are equal, what the Inspector General of Police told us is that the investigators led by Hussein went to record the statements of the Deputy Inspector General from his office in Vigilance House. Number two, I also want to disagree with him when he says that they have so many teams, so they were able to get to Homa Bay very early. Those teams only left Nairobi once they confirmed that the complaint against Ojwang was a valid one. And therefore, I actually feel, and it's my very, very considered opinion, that this matter and the investigations to this matter cannot be free and fair if the DIG, Eliud Lagat, continues sitting in that office as the Deputy Inspector General. Finally, to the IPOA, I wish you well as you look at this matter and you give us answers in 10 days. May I inform you, Mr. Speaker, that yesterday in my county, Nyandarua County, a pregnant woman was arrested in a place called Rwanyambo. She was put and detained in a police station called Rwanyambo. She was pregnant, and I think 6 or 7 months pregnant. Having been detained there, she was crying to the police officers to help her get medical support. This morning, the people of Rwanyambo have woken up to the horrific scene of the pregnant woman in that cell with her dead baby that she delivered in the cell, or rather that was aborted in the cell, Honorable Speaker. If, Mr. Speaker, if this inhumanity in our police force, Mr. Speaker, is not stopped, I don't think we have a country. If they can watch and listen to the cries of a woman who is pregnant and they can see. Mr. Speaker, she had only been accused of stealing 9,000 shillings. 9,000 shillings is something that could have been even gotten by her family. If they allowed, or even summoned Miuka to come the next day, I'm sure she would have come. The same case for Ojwang. There is no record that Ojwang was summoned, and he refused to appear in a police station. Inspector General of Police, I don't know whether you have a heart or your concerns is pricked by the kind of harassment or the kind of thing that is happening to the people of Kenya from your own officers. That is an incident that happened yesterday, even as the country mourns about the Ojwang. That is something that happened. You have heard that Article 26 of the Constitution of Kenya, even an unborn person has a right to live. Now we have lost that kid, Honorable Speaker. I don't know what will happen to Milka because she has now been taken to hospital. The whole day, Mr. Speaker, even when people went out to the Rwanyambo police station to complain, they have been beaten up by police. They have been tear gassed the whole day, Honorable Speaker. I don't understand, Honorable Speaker, what kind of a police force that we have right now, Mr. Speaker. So I want to also throw that challenge. I've written to the...
So, IG, you have 2 minutes. DCI, 2 minutes. IPOA, 2 minutes. We conclude.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The question of who are my key suspects. That question refers back to what I did. I did suspend some officers because I did not want them to interfere with the investigation, because they are the first key suspects in that one. But those who committed the offenses, we will get to know from IPOA when they are through with the investigations. Mine was to ensure that we preserve the scene, we ensure that nobody interferes so that we can go to the bottom of that matter. And that is the reason why I'm happy that today they have also recorded their statements with the IPOA, and I hope that that process moves quickly. We want to get to know who are these who did and carried out this heinous act. I've heard of the issue of certain police station where a pregnant woman was actually mistreated. In fact,
IG, conclude. We barely have a minute to conclude this session.
I'm happy that the Honorable Senator has already written to IPOA to investigate the same, but even myself, I'm going to institute the same through the internal affairs unit so that I can be able to go to the bottom of that. And if that is the case, I'm going to crack the whip so that those involved, they get the ultimate punishment. Thank you very much.
IG,
Honorable Speaker, that is what I would wish to submit.
Thank you. You may have your seat. Now, DCI and IPOA, you will proceed from where we've left it before the committee tomorrow. We do not have time to hear you. Now, honorable senators, we have come to the end of this session. I'd wish to thank the CS and his team for the responses given. Now, the closure of this session is not the end of pursuing this matter by the Senate. If you're aware, the Senate Standing Committee on National Security is already seized of this matter, and it is scheduled for a sitting tomorrow. I therefore direct the Secretariat to make available the record of this meeting to our Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations, so that they can use this to further their probe and make the appropriate recommendation for tabling in the Senate. I also direct that the committee proceed in this matter with a lot of urgency and to table their report. Now, we are going on recess tomorrow. However, we are going to call for a special sitting before the end of the recess to discuss other businesses. This will be among the businesses to receive the report from the Committee of National Security. To IPOA, you've indicated to us that you need 10 days. This is a matter that is more complicated than that of the Honorable Ongono Were. It's a matter that happened in the hands of police officers, in the precincts of police station. It should be the easiest thing to conclude in the shortest time possible. If I were you, I will conclude it way before the expiry of the 10 days. The country is watching. Thank you so much, honorable senators. We now resume the normal. Having resumed the normal and ordinary session of the Senate, honorable senators, it is now 6:30 p.m., time to adjourn the Senate. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, the 12th of June, 2025 at 2:30 p.m. I thank